In the last few days, we have seen two major pastors of huge churches in America stepping down from their ministries. And it started off with Mr. Tony Evans, who decided to step down due to an undisclosed sin. And then within days, we saw the stepping down of Mr. Morris. Now, what I want to say is that, what we're seeing here is a cleaning out, if you will. I believe, like I said, 2024 year of exposure, I believe that Yah is definitely clearing the house out, so to speak. And I believe that these things are coming out, for a reason. We have to remember is that the Bible tells us that judgment begins with the household of God. And so, because these mega churches were never of Yah in the first place, we have to remember that, Jesus did not come to establish a church made of walls, made of brick and mortar, if you will. He came to establish the kingdom of heaven that was within us. We are the church. We are to be the church, And so, this abuse of leadership, if you will, this abuse of power, if you will, was never of God in the first place. Yes, we know that in the Bible, Paul speaks about the roles of bishops and leadership and, deacons in the church and all these type of positions. But when Paul was establishing the churches in the New Testament and leading others to do the same, he gave a criteria to follow, which is written in the book of Timothy. And, it's sad to see that, in these last days that that criteria, if you will, those guidelines, if you will, are far from being adhered to. We see Robert Morris, who, abused or allegedly, did some awful things to this lady who was 12 at the time, and apparently over a period of 4 years. Now, as more and more things come out about this, we realize just how dark this man really was and still is, in my opinion, because the only reason he he admitted to what he called was a moral failing, which, in my opinion, was a lot more than that. It's a criminal act, was because this lady refused to sign an NDA. So now she was able to speak about it. And she spoke about it very clearly and in such detail. She spoke about what he had done to her over a period of 4 years. And while I might add, he was a grown man and she was a minor. My thing is that, the elders of this church knew what he had done. And the only solution was for him to step down for a couple of years. But then he went back into ministry, which should never have been allowed. He should have been reported to the authorities and he should have gone to jail. He should have gone to jail. And there'll be many people out there saying, that, he's repented and, we should just let this go and we're not to judge and all of these type of things that believers absolutely, try to twist the scriptures with, right? But they forgot. They forgot about that scripture in the New Testament where Paul says that we are to judge those within the church. He says, what business have we judging those outside of the church? But we are to judge those inside of the church. And this guy, he knew what he had done. In fact, he even, offered her money so that she would be quiet, lest it destroyed his ministry. Lest it destroyed his ministry, which just goes to show that it was more important that he had a position within the church, albeit a false one, rather than what he had done. And over a long period of time, repeatedly, over and over and over again. And while he was married and had a family of his own. So what I want to say here is that what we're seeing, even from the beginning of this year with, the likes of T.D. Jakes coming out, these things allegedly coming out about him, and also, members of his family, such as, his daughter, Cora Jakes, and things of this nature. And, seeing, Benny Hinn, repenting again over, the prosperity movement, and Tony Evans standing down for an undisclosed sin. And now with Robert Morris and these crimes that he has committed, and now finally stepping down. What we're seeing is a very, very public pulling down of top pastors of big churches. And if you remember, if any of you have seen my last videos, I clearly stated that I believed that when we heard about Bishop T.D. Jakes, that was not going to be the last. I believed back then, and this was back in January, that there was going to be even more exposure coming in 2024. And here we are in June of 2024. And we are seeing them falling like dominoes. Because these mega churches were never of Yah in the first place. They were never of Yah in the first place. And with so many people worshipping their idols, I just pray that people who, and I'm saying this mainly people from the Pentecostal movement, they're classics for, holding up their idols and not putting them down. I pray that their eyes are beginning to open. Because at this point, if you are still holding up these men as worthy to still be in ministry, if you are still defending these men after, everything that is coming out about them, and make no mistake about it, Yah is cleaning up house. Yah is cleaning up house. And if you are still holding these people up to high esteem while still denying what is blatantly in front of you, then you too need to examine yourself to see if you are still in the faith. You need to examine your heart and your mind and really ask yourself some serious questions, because God isn't playing. God is not playing. When we look at Robert Morris, these are serious allegations. These are serious things that he has done. These are serious things that he has done. We're talking predator, we're talking paedophilia. There's even a sermon where he openly admits that he was looking for vulnerable women. And he talks about the fact that he knew when women had not been cuddled by their dads or given much love or attention by their dads, and he knew that that was his cue to step in and take advantage. This is a man that has said this from his own mouth, and yet people have sat there and listened to him saying these things and have not questioned anything about him. His false doctrine of prosperity, alone should have been a red flag. But no, people stuck around. And so I just pray that now that this has come out and he has chosen to step down, now that it has come out that the elders of Gateway knew about this, even down to the elders knew about this. I believe that if you're still sitting in that church, you need to get up, walk out, and never look back. And then examine yourself. Because now all of these things are very public. When God warns and that person does not turn from their sin, the takedown is usually very public. And this is what we're seeing in 2024. So I just want to end this video here by reading Revelation chapter 18, verse 4 to 5. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues. For her sins have reached to heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities." Brothers and sisters, 2024 is the year of exposure. And I just pray with all my heart that people open their eyes and that they see with their eyes and hear what the Spirit is saying unto the churches. Yah bless you.